And you know by now it was Josh Blackwell indeed with the blocked field goal for the Bears' 25-24 win over the Raiders in Vegas. This is the post-game show, a.k.a. the non-Vegas crew here in the house, taking your calls, 312-332-3776, celebrating a Bears win. I see Eric Ostrowski with the pump on the other side of the glass.
Non-Vegas action. I'm here. We're here for it.
Yeah, Jake Santos, Kendra Smith in the house, and everybody out there who did not go to Vegas. That's all right. We can still watch and celebrate a Bears road victory, even if you're not there.
I'm tingly.
Absolutely, and it feels that much better because we're not taking in all the Vegas festivities like everybody else. We're just watching a Bears game like Bears fans should. And we're not bitter in any way, shape, or form. But listen, the Bears get a win. And that's all that matters. You don't apologize for a victory in this league.
No.
It wasn't pretty, but you know what? The Bears hit the bye 2-2, and after the way the first 2 weeks started, I'll take it, Pat the designer.
Yeah, Jeff, listen, this is not college football where, if you're slated to beat a team by 35 and you win by 7, it's not a good win. There's no such thing as not a good win in the NFL, especially coming off of this type of game. You know what I mean? Where you did all the things that we have talked about to hurt yourself in this game. They had a couple of game-wrecking players in Ashton Jeanty, who didn't we all just know he was going to get right versus us?
Whoa. You're giving Jeanty game-wrecking player. I think the Bears defense gave him an assist for being a game wrecker today.
Well, listen, however we count it, he wrecked this game.
That's fair.
21 carries, 138, 6.5 per. We'll talk about that as well.
Yes,
but I think, you look on the other side. Max Crosby
went out there. That's a game wrecker, my friend.
And was an absolute monster all over the field, and you still found a way to will yourself enough in a position. You had, I know Ben Johnson's not a big Superman player guy, but when you got Lex Luthor standing on the other side and Max Crosby, sometimes you need a little Superman. And I thought you got a little bit of Superman out of Caleb Williams in the second half of this game. This is, as Ben Johnson said, a character win for this team. And I think it changes the perception of what we've expected. Bears fans, we all were doing it. There was nobody in Chicago that wasn't mentally preparing for, okay, how do you go down the field and put yourself in field goal range with 2 touchdowns or 2 timeouts and 39 seconds?
Yes, we had all moved past Carlson making a field goal there before Josh Blackwell comes up with a huge block. And you know what? We'll play it later, but kudos to Bears long snapper Scott Daly for tipping off the entire Bears special team unit that the Vegas long snapper moved the ball before he actually snapped, allowing Blackwell and company to get good jumps. Blackwell even commented how they got close to the 2 previous ones, and he knew that they had a good shot at getting that final third one, and it could not have been more timely. So big assist from Scott Daly, the Bears long snapper, for recognizing that. Because, listen, it's the little things like that go a long way in helping decide a football game like this.
No, 100%. And I think, when you got down to that second half, it was the little things that you had to overcome, and you found a way to overcome it. Was it winning, sexy today? Was this a 31-14 victory over? No, it wasn't. But guess what? You found a way to do enough. And I think, final drive, capping it off. DeAndre Swift's the one that comes away with a couple of big runs to get you into the end zone on that final red zone period. DeAndre Swift didn't have a great game today, but in the moment you needed him to be great, he was able to be great. I think you can say the same for special teams as well, who I thought had some question marks on them today with Torrey Taylor kicking that football up. But, as much as you can say it was ugly, I think this is so much more of a positive for this Bears team, saying that you came away with the win, because how many of these were we on the losing side of over the last 3 years? I understand why Bears fans are saying this is a change of culture type of win.
Yeah, you come away with a big win there. Ben Johnson makes the adjustment at halftime where, he Braxton Jones is taken off the field, right? Like you needed something different because Max Crosby, to your point, was a game wrecker there in their first half.
Monster.
And something had to be done. And with Darnell Wright inactive, it clearly was showing. And so Ben Johnson went ahead and made the move. Theo Benedict and Ozzie Trapillo were your starting tackles to begin the second half. And Braxton Jones was nowhere to be seen at that point. And who knows if we will see Braxton Jones again, and if injury doesn't necessitate.
We did see him again. I don't know if you saw this at all. He was out there on field goal.
Well,
the rest of the game.
That's fair.
I think that answers the question.
Allow me to retort as an offensive lineman on the offensive unit. Okay. But in terms of, we may have seen the last of Braxton Jones as a starting tackle for the Bears offensive line unless injury necessitates that. But you know what? A bold move by the head coach to say, I need something better from my offensive line. Yeah. I need Caleb Williams to have more time to go through his progressions, and he was much better in the second half. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't exactly clean, but it was enough to allow Caleb Williams to use his feet and also to have a few opportunities to go through his progressions, and it was so much better in the second half for the Bears functionally, offensively. And so, this feels better going into the bye, 2-2, far, far superior than where they were at after that ridiculous loss to the Lions. Yeah. And now you can hit the bye, hopefully get a lot healthier defensively. They come up with 4 takeaways in this one, which were all needed because, they could not stop Ashton Genty. But you know what? In this league, in this NFL in 2025, more often than not, takeaways are going to be a bigger determination as to whether or not you can win football games, because a lot of times it's just the way the penalties are set up in this league. They're going to give offenses more than enough opportunities to come away with points unless you can take the ball away. And you know what? Kevin Byard, game ball to you, man. A couple of INTs, and Tyreek Stevenson, huge game for him.
Wildly athletic. We've seen some incredibly athletic interceptions this season from Tyreek Stevenson, Tremaine Edmonds, Kevin Byard. Like, shockingly athletic.
Playing with confidence out there. And those takeaways were critical in helping the Bears come away with this win. And we're taking your calls about it, 312-332-3776. Let's start with Lewis, who's in Lyle. What's going on, Lewis? Lewis? Hey, what's up, bud?
Hey, apparently Ben Johnson loves Ferris Bueller's Day Off. With that in mind, Joshua Blackwell, you're our hero. Now, honestly, it feels really, really good to be on the right side of a blocked game-winning field goal. I will say you're right. I think Braxton Jones has done himself in at left tackle. When Ozzie Trapillo came in at right tackle, Max Crosby was shut down. And you know what? That first half, I haven't seen any single defensive player dominate another team's offense since Julius Peppers against the Panthers back in 2010. Yeah. We all know that game when he blocked a screen pass, then from his knees managed to still get the pick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is Ozzie Trapillo came in and did what he was supposed to do, and he actually was able to shut Crosby down in a way that I didn't think was possible that second half. Now, granted, Crosby was still able to get some pressures, but it wasn't nearly as flagrant. This win is something that we desperately needed. Tonight, I am going to raise a glass of my family's wine, along with my wife, Manon. Hi. And
she's
we are
on
going
the line.
Listen, we're going to cheers. We're going to cheers to you, Lewis.
Hey, you guys didn't get to go to Vegas. You guys had better go and find the case that I gave the studio and maybe take a few or 3 for yourselves.
All right, Lewis, I don't know if they have already been removed. They probably have, but we will scrounge around the station and see if we can find some wine. But cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers to you, Lewis.
We appreciate you hanging on and talking with us. It was a Bears win that will not be forgotten anytime soon. And, again, it was not pretty. Roma Dunze continues to establish himself. You were talking him up last week. He clearly looks like the favored target by Caleb Williams, and he's showing why. He was a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. So that is really nice to see. Don't love the way the DJ Moore thing is playing out, wondering how long this can play out, because we've seen it in this league, not just with DJ Moore, but several. This is the history of the NFL, where a number one wide receiver doesn't get enough targets, and it doesn't matter even if you are winning. tend to be unhappy. So we'll see how long this coupling will actually play out. I'm concerned that with Rome kind of establishing himself, and listen, this is a good problem to have. You want talented wide receivers on your team.
Yeah.
It's definitely better than what the Bears' history has been at the wide receiver position. So I will take it. But I'm throwing up a flag on this and saying I'm a little bit concerned about how this situation will go down the road in the future. But that's a future problem too, Pat.
I think here's why I'm not. Number one, I think two takeaways right from this game. Number one. Credit to Lewis on the call. Max Crosby almost like my conversation today was not going to be the Raiders defense dominated. It was going to be Max Crosby single-handedly shut down a lot of what Ben Johnson wanted to do pretty continuously. Like I asked Ben Johnson about it in the presser this week. I was like, how do you balance focusing too many guys on Max and weakening the rest of your defense? Truly, all you had to do was focus on Max, and it still didn't even matter. We saw Max Crosby get double-teamed, triple-teamed, still be able to get pressure on Caleb Williams, and I do give credit to Ozzie Trapillo on maybe making it a little bit easier on Caleb in the second half where you didn't have to allocate as many players. You saw Ozzie a lot more one-on-one on that right side than you did with other guys.
He did enough. He did
enough.
As a rookie, you will take that each and every time.
And as a rookie, Jeff, in his first game active.
Exactly.
This is his first time on an NFL field
in a regular
season game. And he was okay versus Max Crosby. He was not phenomenal, right?
Like I'm trying to, because TJ Watt has fallen off a little bit. I'm trying to think of Myles Garrett would obviously go above Max Crosby. Who else, though? It's a short list of guys who you would put above Crosby.
Yeah,
Crosby's might be top 3, and that's, he could very easily be top 2.
I would.
Myles Garrett, I will put above him.
Is Max above Micah?
It's a fair question.
Max plays the run a lot better. But I say all that to say,
either way, though, it feels like those are the 3.
Yes,
those are the 3 best edge rushers in all of football.
You overcame that moment.
Yeah.
And I think to the DJ Moore point, we saw him win a game 31-14, and he didn't have a smile on his face. It's just his face. I keep saying this. It's how he looks in the locker room. It's how he looks when he's out at practice. It's how he looks on the side. Well, as much as we love Ben Johnson for sitting there up 31, stoic, still looking. They blocked the field goal. He didn't smile. I can't then turn around and go, DJ Moore, why aren't you cheesing on the sideline?
No, it's not
I hate your body language. You look like a bad player. He doesn't. He got 5 targets. He caught 4 of them. I think we also need to talk about the fact that Olamide Zaccheaus got 6. Swift got 6. Cole got 9, caught 3. There's a conversation. Burden got 2, caught 2. The ball is being spread around. I would rather see that than Rome Odunze is your only option. That's where the football has to go.
I'm flagging it and pointing out that DJ Moore, I do think this is going to come to a head at some point. Rome Odunze is establishing himself as the number 1 wide receiver, and that's all. Again, that's a side story. I don't want to derail us because it's a win, and there's so many other things to point out. So we'll continue to take your calls. Let's try Matt, who's in Streamwood. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, Miller and Pat, thanks for taking my phone call. Miller, before I get to my point, DJ Moore was the first one to hug Caleb when they blocked the field goal. I did see that, so he was the first one who went to Caleb and said, "Job well done." So I think the camera catches him on bad times. But anyways, you guys, I am so impressed with these defensive backs, especially Kevin Byard and Tyree Stevenson. They're playing out of their mind. I know this is not, they can't do it all the time, but they are making up for the front 4 on the defense. There's just nothing from Montez Sweat or Javon Dexter. I just don't know what happened to those 2 guys. And conversely, the same thing with DeAndre Swift. I don't know what's going on, guys. I can't remember the last time he's had 100 yards rushing in a game, and we're on game 21 for him. And there's just I don't even know anymore for him, for DeAndre Swift. There's just nothing there anymore. And I just don't know what Ben Johnson needs to do. I wish he would go with Roschon Johnson. I'd rather see Roschon Johnson and Kevin Monangai. I understand he's got a concussion. I believe that. I understand, Miller and Pat. I believe that. But DeAndre Swift, we cannot go. I think he had 8 plays with negative yards.
Roschon's playing.
Yeah,
he's playing on special teams. So
I think the problem is Roschon doesn't have any juice. He's just, we've kind of seen this now. He's a plotter. He's the definition of the old, if you need you need 2 yards, he'll get you 3. If you need 4 yards, he'll get you 3.
Yeah.
He has no explosiveness, and I think in Ben Johnson's offense, that's part of the reason why he's not in any real way a focal point of getting him touches. They made that a bit more of an effort last season, when we saw him get goal line carries, and that was fine. That's probably his best usage as a short goal line back, but the reality is those guys are a dime a dozen. You can find those throughout the league.
You found one. Kyle Monungai is that guy.
Kyle Monungai,
right now.
yes.
And maybe he's got a little bit more upside.
And he has a little more,
him in the past game. He's cheaper for longer.
And he's a rookie. And so, he probably doesn't want to trust, Monungai being involved in every aspect of his offense just yet. DeAndre Swift has had experience in this league in Ben Johnson's system. But here's the thing. We know this. When Ben Johnson had the opportunity to go ahead and make DeAndre Swift his featured back in Detroit, he quickly disposed of him. He came here in Chicago.
Jeff, does it not feel similar?
Well,
Remember, first few games, it was Swifty. Let's see what you got. And then it quickly turned into, I guess we're going to try and get Jamal Williams a single-season touchdown record.
I legit listen. It's pretty apparent the Bears were trying to draft Travion Henderson in the second round.
Yeah,
I think that was pretty well established. But the Bears couldn't trade up because the Patriots had the pick and they wanted him.
Yeah.
And so they weren't going to trade it away. I think that's pretty clear. So DeAndre Swift, this may be his last season as a member of the Bears. The problem for the Bears was that they just didn't, in terms of where they were picking, they still had a lot of needs, right? They really liked Colston Loveland, who was hurt and out and inactive today, and that's also been his pedigree in college, is that he gets hurt often.
Yeah.
So, that might be something that's kind of rearing its ugly head. Cole Kmet clearly had huge issues. I'll let you here. I'll cede the floor to you on Cole Kmet. I don't know what to say other than he needs to be better. He took a huge hit early in the game. I don't know if that affected him in any way, but he definitely hurt the Bears quite a bit today, to the point where if they don't come away with that blocked field goal win, he would be, I think, a lot more upset with Cole Kmet today.
Yeah, listen, it was not a great day for Cole at all. I think the difference is that we've seen Cole have those days and
bounce back
and be able to be a key focal point of the offense. Am I going to sit here and say that Cole Kmet's the reason that the Bears lost? No. Am I going to say that he
they didn't lose
or would have lost? I guess I should say that's true. I'm not. I will say this: the drops don't irritate me as much as the false starts.
I think it all goes into the stew, my man.
The pre-snap penalties, because I think the drives that we saw today out of Caleb Williams, this is the first time that Caleb was able to overcome the pre-snap issues, the false starts, the illegal formations. We saw rear their ugly head yet again.
Yeah.
I was more upset about those situations. I think he left today with 2 false starts on the day than I was with
the drops.
And the only reason being because I don't think that Cole was the main target for Caleb yet again. You're going to Rome. You're going to DJ.
Sure.
When I get into those moments, I need you to be more sure-handed than you were, but you can bounce back from that if, in those first 3 turnovers of the first half, Jeff, you don't continue to shoot yourself in the foot 3 drives in a row.
They were able to overcome it. The problem is most weeks it's going to be very difficult to overcome
100%.
those pre-snap penalties. They need to stop. That's I think the bigger issue. Hopefully they can clean some stuff up in the bye week.
8 penalties for 60 yards today.
Now they're not going to have extra practice time. They may have an extra day or so, but there's a mandated week where the players are going to get off because of the CBA. So it's not like Ben Johnson can say, get in up at Hallis Hall this week. We're going to work through our bye week. That is not the case. And but they'll get some extra time to rest up and hopefully get healthy. And they will have an extra day because their next game isn't until Monday, October 13th against Washington, in Washington against the Commanders, when they will try and revenge the failed Mary that obviously is going to be a huge talking point in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. I think, listen, right now, where you're at mentally coming off of this win, like Ben Johnson said, like Kevin Byers said, a character win, this is exactly what you needed. Now, would I have loved a 31-10 game where you just blow them out the water and Geno Smith's horrible? 100%, because I think you go into that game maybe a little bit more confident. But here's the thing that this game does for you, Jeff. And Kevin Byard pointed to it in one of the post-game locker room videos. but it was the truth. And usually when things continue to happen, there's a little bit of belief that is in your mind that here we go again when this situation happens. All the penalties, all the issues, they're driving down end of the game. They get themselves in a position to go score a field goal. We've been on the losing end of that now 3 times, I believe. You also have the Caleb Williams try and fight yourself back game that turns into the Hail Mary versus Washington. Mm-hmm. Or it turns into you go into overtime and it not being enough versus Minnesota. Like, you had these moments, but you haven't had these moments end in a win. Mentally, I think that this is what you needed to shake loose some of the, hey, this isn't who we are. And if we buckle down and lock down and we play 60 minutes of football, we can come away with these wins. We've been on the other side of the one-score games. Today, you're on the right side of it because of every single phase of this team. First half, I think the defense gave you everything they had. Second half, I thought the offense started to figure it out a little bit, gave you what they had, and special teams wins you the game. That's what it takes.
3-phased football team that wins a game, sneaks out with a road win. And I'll add this, too. It was easy to look at this game and say, you know what, this is a win you need to have if you're going to win any road games. But at the same time, let's not underestimate the fact that the Raiders were very motivated, having had their asses handed to them by the Commanders the previous week. So there's no doubt that they were certainly extra motivated to try and come back and get themselves a win at home. So the fact that the Bears were able to weather that storm and then bounce back and get the win, again, no apologies for a win in this league. I'm Jeff Meller. He's Pat the Designer. The post-game show, the non-Vegas edition, right here on the ESPN 1000, home of the Bears.
I love that my husband's so handy. He leaves more money for the important stuff. Whoa. Gosh darn it, Steve.
Oh. Don't be like Steve. Call Avondale Roofing. DIY is for Pinterest, not your roof.
Jeff, is this breaking news from Schefter here that's worth bringing up on the we got our Super Bowl halftime performer.
You know what? I was going to say they did do it.
We got our Super Bowl halftime performer.
I know they announced they announced it on Sunday Night Football. So
Bad Bunny will be the halftime performer for the Super Bowl on Sunday, February 8th, 2026 at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California, per Adam Schefter. You a big Bad Bunny guy?
I enjoy his work on SNL.
Okay, he was good on SNL. I love him on WWE.
Listen,
when he's on there, he's phenomenal.
He's a multifaceted performer. So yeah,
he's a genius.
I would imagine he's going to put on a good show. I think that's the bigger thing. Is I want an artist who is going to be able to, appeal to multiple people out there, but also it's a performance. It can't just be music. It's got to be bigger than that for the Super Bowl, and I think he's a great pick.
All right, better or worse than Kendrick dissing Drake the entire time?
Better or worse?
I want to know which side of the beef you were on.
I'm going to reserve.
Well, judging on the other side of the glass, by the way.
I'm perfectly fine with Kendrick dissing, but I need to reserve judgment until I actually see what Bad Bunny comes out with.
I guess not better, more excited or less excited than
I
Kendrick.
don't think I can. No. I don't think it's going to live up to that.
Okay,
hype.
I
think I don't know. I don't think Bad Bunny's got big beef. That we're gonna have to.
That was a summer of hands. That ended at the Super Bowl, so that was tough.
Yeah. That's a tough. Drake made his own bed, so. Let's go on out to Tommy, who's in Downers Grove. What's going on, Tommy?
Tommy!
Hey, guys. I want to get your opinion. After Dunze's touchdown in the third, they went up 15-14. My buddies and I were all texting, why didn't they go for 2? It's just too much time on the clock, or what was your guys' thoughts on that?
I would say you got to take the temperature of where your team is at right in that moment. When you get into the fourth quarter of the game, you have no choice but to go for 2 because it's the only logical answer for they go down, they kick a field goal, they beat you, or if you complete the 2-point conversion, you tie. Where in that situation, I truly just think there was nobody who could stop Max Crosby at that point. Why would I give him another opportunity on the field to take points away from us? So I was okay with them going for the field goal in that situation.
Extra point, yeah.
For the extra point, I should say, in that situation, because I thought that the temperature of the team, you knew you didn't have an offensive line that could execute one of those quick plays like that at that point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a fair question, Tommy. I don't believe Ben was asked specifically about that in the post game. So that's one of those things where there may be a follow up tomorrow. It's certainly fair, but at the same time, I think you kind of laid it out. It's just it's still early in the game, right? Oftentimes, I can see coaches wanting to take the points because you don't want to put yourself in a position where later in the game, if you give up a touchdown, now you're chasing and like, why didn't I just take the extra point in that moment? Now, when we get to the fourth quarter, completely different story, right? Like when you're in the fourth quarter, I think you have to treat every score like it could be your last. And so I certainly would say if they were in the fourth quarter at that stage, it would have been far more egregious to say, I don't know. I think you should have gone for 2 in that situation to potentially put yourself up 3. But in the third quarter, I'm okay. And I'll be honest, I didn't pull up the old scoring chart to see what it would, but oftentimes more.
It would have put them up 3, basically. It would have been the same situation. You would have been able to go up 3.
But what I'm saying
made
is
it a field goal.
A lot of times you get the percentage, the scoring chart of should you go for it.
Should you, the EPA per play on
exactly.
that. I would say probably situationally, right? And I think this is where numbers and coaches are different. Situationally, EPA per play, you go for it.
To put yourself up 3.
It puts yourself up 3. It gives you the opportunity to have a little bit of control in the game, even though they go down and they score pretty quickly right after that. The feel of the game, and I think this is a takeaway, Bears fans, that you should have for Ben Johnson. He felt where his team was at in that moment and said, we're not in a position to go for this. I think that's the part on going on it for fourth down that so often gets lost in these coaching situations. Do you want to lose games going away from your identity? No, you never do. But do you want to be in these games going the logical route based on how your team is playing in that moment? I think that's what we got out of Ben Johnson in that. And that's another feather in the cap of this feels different. Because probably if you're dealing with the coaching staff last year, the 2-point conversions were all over the place. You probably would have gone for it on 2 because the numbers said you should have gone for it on 2.
Yeah, like I said, it's so early in the game where I could understand not wanting to chase points, and always being concerned about potentially missing a 2-point conversion, whereas an extra point, you feel like that's money in the bank, and then you give yourself a little bit more flexibility down the road here where you don't just give that point away. So I was okay with it. It wasn't something at the time where I was like, why aren't you going for 2? That's a situation where it didn't bother me too much. Let's try Steven, who's in Detroit. What's going on, Steven?
Hey, guys. An ugly win. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
And the defense remains very spotty because they can't tackle even with their life dependent upon, and the run defense as a result, even last week and this week, was just really, really atrocious. I know tackling is a lost art form, not just in the NFL, but in college, and even if you want to go down further, even in high school level too, perhaps. But, man, that has to be cleaned up immediately if the Bears were to, keep winning. So my thoughts is that now that the Bears are 2-2 with a bye week, coming at a rather earlier than a year before, but with all the injuries, thankfully this bye week comes at a very good time. And the running game and the defense, particularly the defensive line, is a massive problem. Now, if the Bears can kind of stack wins starting in October with, winnable games like the Saints, the Giants, and even the Bengals without Joe Burrow, you got to kind of start thinking about maybe, could the Bears add a running back or a defensive lineman, which obviously is kind of like a double-edged sword because that means you're giving up a pick, and then you're going to have to let, Ryan Poles do that job for Ben Johnson, even with, perhaps Ben Johnson having more considerable, power.
Yeah, it's a fair question, Steven. Thanks for the call. Listen, if you're so hard up against it where you don't like what DeAndre Swift is giving you moving forward, especially, I would say certainly you're going to give him coming out of the bye week with the extra couple of days of practice with the Monday game, where you say, all right, let's see if we can kind of, revisit what we're trying to do here. Let's see if we can, have you hit the hole harder. If we're going to remake our offensive line, who our starting lineup's going to be. Let's see if we can, especially with Ozzie Trapillo, I think he obviously, that is actually where he will excel, as a road grader type tackle where you can actually run behind him a little bit more. That actually I think is probably going to be the biggest strength for him. So if he's going to be a starter moving forward, that might be an opportunity where you run a little bit more behind him in, depending on what you do offensively.
Well, Ozzie took over the right side. Are we out on Darnell?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Darnell was banged up in this game, so Theo got the spot as the swing.
This is the question. I don't know.
Second-round pick, though. I mean, it is a conversation.
Listen, if ultimately, yes, he's a second-round pick. So Trapillo, Darnell, right. I don't know who's going to be left tackle. I don't know who's going to be right tackle. Ultimately, though, I wouldn't be surprised if both those guys are on the field together. Who's going to be better at the left side? Who's going to be better on the right side? I don't know. Darnell Wright clearly seems more comfortable on the right side, but Ozzie Trapillo clearly seems like they
more
prefer him better on the right side.
Yeah.
But you've invested a lot of draft capital in both. Yeah. So ultimately, I think when push comes to shove, those two guys, listen, unless Theo Benedict proves me wrong, I feel like we're moving in that direction ultimately.
No, 100%. I think the change is coming after the bye.
And hey, Darnell Wright needs to get healthy too. He needs to get back out on the field before I can say let's count on him and make him a factor in the offense. I assume he will be back after the bye. It's an elbow injury. You hope that heals up quickly.
No, and I think the big thing right now with both trenches, to me, I feel like you have seeing Ozzie get in there finally. Mm-hmm. It feels like okay, there's somewhat of an answer here. There's something that you can at least transition to where, and I think this is the big thing. If the rookie's making mistakes,
we can live with this.
I can deal with it.
Yes.
If the 3-year top 10 overall pick veteran is making those mistakes, now we got some bigger issues, which I think is kind of what we're seeing from Ben Johnson here moving forward. Listen, Braxton Jones has been the guy. He's been the starter. You had to go to essentially benching him today, and he still got out there on special teams on field goal. But you had to bench him today for Theo Benedict because he was just becoming a pretty quick target.
Too much of a liability.
We were talking about Max Crosby. Max Crosby spent most of the game on the right side, not on the left side.
Yes.
And we were talking about Braxton Jones getting kind of bullied and beat up yet again. On the defensive line, to his point, this is your defensive line. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to tell you. It's not changing this season. This is – you want to go through some of the money here, Jeff? Montez Sweat, 4-year, $98 million. Grady Jarrett, 3 years, $43 million. Wasn't on the field today. He was banged up. Dio Adangbo, 3 years, $48 million. And you got to pay Javon Dexter coming up here. That's almost $160 million plus dollars invested in your defensive line. And, Jeff, they couldn't get pressure on Geno Smith behind an offensive line that sucks.
Yes, well, listen.
I am a massive Jackson Powers Johnson guy. He's not good at guard. Maybe he's a better center than he is a guard, but he looks horrendous.
You're a bigger Javon Dexter supporter than I am. He's fine to me.
He's fine. Yes, that's all I said.
Whether or not they need to pay him, we shall see. But and let's see. I know I've seen people talk about Austin Booker returning after the bye and potentially. Listen, I was very excited with Austin Booker. He needs to prove at the NFL level that he can do anything close to what we've seen in preseason. We can't just say he's going to walk in
a real game.
Yeah.
He did this last year in preseason. He was exciting last year in preseason. Y'all know I love Austin Booker. I said draft him with the pick that ended up becoming Torrey Taylor, which we'll get to that later in the show.
No, we won't. We don't have enough time.
Well, just the kickoff. I was so confused on that. I was like, we brought him out there. Are we not putting it through the back of the end zone? I feel like this is the time. But anyway, I digress. But I just, listen, Dennis Allen, when we got the chance to talk to him kind of one-on-one early in the season, before the season started, what he told us was that he doesn't like his defensive ends 240. Based on the guys that he's gone out there and signed, I would think he doesn't like his defensive ends 240.
And by the way, you can look at his history throughout everywhere he's been as a coach. He's never had small defensive ends.
Well, the only one he had was a monster. And he drafted him.
Trey Hendrickson, or what do you?
Khalil Mack.
Okay.
Khalil Mack is 250? Which is small for him. He wants his defensive ends, he said, 270 and up.
Yes.
I'm not saying that Khalil Mack is small. He's a massive human being. But he wants his defensive ends 270 and up. And I think Khalil Mack coming in around that 250 mark, right? But he did say, I would rather have power over pounds. Mm-hmm. If you're able to move guys out of the way, I'm fine with that. Go get on the field. Go be a game wrecker. Austin Booker in preseason, move guys out of the way. It's a lot different when you got to move Trent Williams than when you, well, maybe not this season, but you know what I mean? Those top guys.
No doubt.
Than when you got to move second and third level players.
Listen, I mean, again, this gets back to look at what Max Crosby is doing. He's getting paid comparably to what Montez Sweat is getting paid, you know, and that's where you go to, okay, Grady Jarrett wasn't out there today. He was inactive, but dealing with the knee. But when he was out there, he was actually making an impact. Montez Sweat is out there, and we're still not seeing enough from Montez Sweat. And that, you know, that he hanged that on Ryan Poles' ledger yet again, right? I liked Montez Sweat the first year when they traded for him. He was a difference maker on, you know, Matt Eberflus's unit. He has not been that player since then. And we're now entering the bye week after 4 games here in the regular season in 2025. I don't know what to, like, if he's not going to get more pressure, this is the defensive line you have this season. I don't know where it's going to come from.
These are the guys you paid for, not just this season. Now, Montez Sweat, his contract has some outs in 2026 that I think you can get out of if you want to.
This is the problem, right?
Yeah.
We can't be talking about how to get out of Montez Sweat's deal. They've paid him.
Yeah.
He needs to produce. And if he's not producing, he has 1 sack so far this season. He had 5.5 last year.
Yeah.
You know, and again, he's not getting double teamed like Max Crosby is.
Yeah.
He's just not. The stats will go and look.
19%. I don't know what it's updated as right now.
Yeah, we don't have today's numbers.
19% of his snaps coming into this week, he was being double teamed. Don't believe the double team propaganda that's being put out there.
No, yeah, he's not.
He's not being double teamed.
No.
They're playing him one-on-one.
Yes.
By the way, versus bad tackles.
Yes.
Like Vegas Raiders have bad tackles.
Yes, it's been an issue for them. And the Bears really didn't make it a huge issue today. 312-332-3776. I promise you some Ben Johnson. We will get that for you here in a little bit. We'll take your calls as well. He's Pat the Designer. I'm Jeff Meller. This is the Postgame Show on ESPN 1000.
All right, let's be honest. Game day isn't just about football. It's about the food. And for me, that means Nancy's Pizza. Your game day might include putting your favorite jersey on, the remote in hand, but also make sure Nancy's Pizza is front and center. Whether it's with the crew or you're flying solo, nothing beats that crispy crust, molten blend of mozzarella cheese and those legendary toppings. Nancy's has been doing it right since 1971. Make Nancy's Pizza part of your game day routine. Order now at nancyspizza.com or go to their flagship restaurant in the West Loop.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the colleges paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
That's the ease at which you get information. You want it, you get it. Like that. Ask your phone. Group chat. Smartphone. You're always connected and informed in real time. No waiting. So if you're diabetic and still using finger sticks to read your blood sugar, what are you waiting for? Knowing your blood sugar levels instantly is important for managing diabetes. Call US Med at 888-665-0696. To learn more about continuous glucose monitors, a real-time instant method to track your blood glucose, US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 1,000 private insurers. And the best part? Call 888-665-0696 and we'll give you a free insurance benefits check today. So call 888-665-0696 today. That's 888-665-0696. And manage your diabetes as easy as...
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First, drown it with a bucket of water. Then stir it with a shovel.
Wow. You sound Just like him.
Then he said,
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips. Because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Bears Postgame. Here are your hosts, Jason McKee, Jeff Meller, and Pat the Designer on the home of the Chicago Bears.
Here comes the ball.
ESPN Chicago.
Jeff Meller, Pat the Designer, hanging out with you. J-Mac is flying home from Vegas, so no J-Mac with us tonight. I'm sure he'll be back next time we have a Bears. Oh, maybe not, though. That's a Monday nighter. Bears Commanders.
Yeah, probably not.
So we may not get J-Mac for a couple of Bears games here. But I promised you will hear from J-Mac as he interviewed Caleb Williams after the win. So we'll share that with you here momentarily. But let's take Mikey, who's in Lisle. What's going on, Mike?
What's going on, boys?
What's
How we
happening,
doing?
Mikey? How you feeling, man?
We're doing well. We got a Bears win. How you doing, Mikey?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, if I'm not listening to Windy City Breeze, I'm right here.
There you go.
Shout out to you, Mikey.
That's right. So I'm gonna say that win tonight does not happen without the culture shift, not just by Ben Johnson, but Antoine Randall L. That man has brought a significant culture shift to that locker room. I just want to make sure I acknowledge it.
Yeah, listen, I agree. I think that there's a seriousness that the wide receivers take in every duty that they have. DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Olamide Zaccheaus. Doesn't matter the name, doesn't matter where you rank in this rotation. Heck, all the way down to Luther Burden. The mindset is whatever you're asked to do on this play, I need you to do it. If that is, as soon as you see somebody else with the football, turn around and start blocking. You got to open up lanes. That's what the Dallas game, we saw that all over the field. This game, I thought we saw that as well, just not in as many opportunities for the Bears. And when the opportunities did present themselves on the Rome Odunze big pass, you see DJ Moore finding somebody to make contact with and move them out the way.
Listen, I don't know where it begins and ends with Antoine Randall L versus Ben Johnson. I know that Ben Johnson speaks very highly of Antoine Randall L. The few opportunities we've had to speak with him, he's a great interview. I think he's somebody who has passion, and I think that is certainly a benefit inside the locker room.
Yeah.
And like I said, Ben Johnson was very happy that Dan Campbell allowed Antoine Randall L to come with him back to his home stomping grounds here in Chicago. So I love that. But I also know that Ben Johnson's big key is, no block, no rock. And so, whether that's Antoine Randall L carrying out his message in the coaching, the positional meetings, that's certainly possible. Listen, the culture, though, it starts and ends with Ben Johnson. Mikey. So I'm more than happy to say I like Antoine Randall L on the coaching staff. I don't know how much credit to give him versus what Ben Johnson's doing. I'm just glad that the team is finally overcoming these issues that in the past, as Pat pointed out, have seemed to have been deficient, right? Like whenever when things went poorly for the Bears, it would open up the floodgates, and all of a sudden it was a disaster under Eberflus. That doesn't seem to be the case under Ben Johnson.
No, I agree with you, and I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mikey. Appreciate you listening. Thanks. And, of course, as Pat, you can catch him in multiple arenas here. Go ahead, plug. We obviously got the Bears
we got
podcast.
The Chicago Bears podcast. Of course, you catch me here on the post-game show doing all my fill-in duties as well on ESPN Chicago.
Yes, sir.
Tap in with us. We're on Fox Chicago now on After the Whistle. Tap in with us after the game. We got there. And then, of course, the Windy City Breeze and Locked On Bulls. We're all over the place, man.
Yes.
Multitude of places to be. We weren't in Vegas, though. So, you know what I mean?
Someone's got to hold down the fort.
Somebody's got to hold down the fort. I had a lot of shows to do. So
someone's got to do shows here back at the station. We have to make sure that we don't have vagrants running around. Well, if everybody's in Vegas, what are you going to do? You're just going to leave the place unattended? You can't do that. All right, so I mentioned a little bit of Ben Johnson here. But first, let's do J-Mac and Caleb Williams because obviously That was a huge drive by Caleb Williams. J-Mac caught up with Caleb in the locker room after the game, and this was their conversation.
Talk about your defense. 5 sacks, 4 takeaways. How big was that for playing complementary football to set you guys up, put you guys in a good field position?
Yeah, it's huge. I think we weren't playing up to our standard on our side of the ball, and they were doing a hell of a job being able to get takeaways and be able to put us in a good field position, be able to take whether it was 3 points or the 7 points that we got. And so kudos to them, kudos to special teams. They did a hell of a job today to keep us in the game, and then obviously at the end the defense holding them up, making them force a long field goal, and special teams coming through, and obviously offensive line, wide receivers on that drive we had to be able to go down there and have the composure and stay together and go ultimately win the game-winning drive.
Yeah, when it mattered most, you guys answered the bell on third down, 7 for 16 on third down. And you also built that chemistry through Rome again. Break down that 27-yard touchdown pass you had to Rome.
Yeah, I think it's just the reps, the belief, the trust in each other. And then obviously, throwing it before he was out his break, he broke, he had an awesome route, broke in, and caught the ball and walked in the end zone.
Obviously, you guys saw Max Crosby on film. You put in a game plan against him. How different from what you saw on film to seeing him in person? Talk about him as a player and what makes him so elite.
Yeah, that guy is the best player probably that I've played against in my career so far. And so, even on the field, I was giving him kudos, and times that he went down, making sure, because obviously a player like that, you want to go versus a player like that. You want to have him on the field, and that's something that he does well. He stays on the field. I think he had 2 plays off, and then the whole game, and that's really rare for a guy like that. And so, his motor, his play recognition. All of that. He's a hell of a player, and like you said, we made a game plan for him, but we also understood he's gonna make some plays. And it's not getting frustrated with it because we know he's a hell of a player. So it's not getting frustrated. It's moving on from it when he makes his plays and being able to make a play after that and respond.
You talked about your 2 tackles. Theo got in the game. Also, Ozzie Trapilo got in the game. They had to go against Max time and time again. Talk about how well those young guys played and how much confidence you have in them.
I got all the confidence in the world. After the game, went up and dapped them up and congratulated them because it's a tough game to come in and play versus a guy like that. And so being able to have them come in and do what they did and not allow. I don't think 98 had a sack on us. And so hell of a job to offensive line, hell of a job to the tackles and the young tackles, hell of a job to the running backs in protection, being able to keep me clean, and at the end of the game being able to drive down the field and deliver when we need it most.
Before that last drive, I had the opportunity. I was standing next to you and Ben on the sideline. I seen him pull you over, and he was whispering something to you. If you can tell us, what did Ben say to you before that last scoring drive?
Yeah, in those moments, Ben, I don't know if Ben's trying to build some confidence for me, or if that's what he's really believing in. But he always, in those moments, he comes up to me and he goes, "It's your time now. Go win the game." And the belief and trust in him, to me, I provide that to the guys when we get into the huddle, and just providing that belief and that trust in those guys and instilling that in those guys, and it starts with Ben. And so it starts with Ben. From me to the other players, and I think we got something good going, and we got to keep going. We got to keep being consistent. We got to find ways to get better. We got to find ways when we're not moving the ball and things like that. And defense and special teams doing a hell of a job. We got to find ways to be able to go score and score fast, or methodically move the ball down the field. And whichever way we got to go score, especially when a defense is playing lights out.
Last question for you. Obviously, going into the bye week, get 2 wins. You get to go home, get to go back to D.C. What's the ticket count going to look like, and what are your plans for the bye week?
Man, I hope the ticket count is not too insane, because that just means more and more that I got to account for. But, yeah, it's I can't wait to get back home. That crowd, I got a bad taste in my mouth from that game last year. Having a Hail Mary thrown on you or on us, and it's not a good feeling. And so being able to, come back and get to work and figure out what we need to do better. I'm excited for. I know the guys are excited. And we gotta find ways to get healthy, get better, and get better. Because that's the ultimate goal for us, is the growth, for this long season.
Caleb Williams with our guy Jason McKee, who is flying home from Vegas now as we speak. That's why he's not with us tonight. But Jeff Meller, Pat the Designer, hanging out with you. 312-332-3776. If you want to hop on in, talk about the Bears' 25-24 win over the Raiders to move to 2-2 as they hit the bye week. And as you just heard, J-Mac and Caleb talking, they will get the Washington Commanders coming out of the bye week. That's a Monday Night Football game, October 13th. So that one will certainly have a lot of hype surrounding it. I would imagine that Jaden Daniels should be back. He was hoping to play this week. Obviously, he had the knee injury, so they held him out yet again this week. But next week, wouldn't be surprised to see Jaden Daniels back playing for the Commanders, and then he'll be 2 weeks removed and back out there on the field in all likelihood to take on the Bears, as the Commanders will be at home for that game. Bears on the road.